Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a super informal video. It's haven't done a Q&A in a minute, so we're doing a Q&A. I wrote down a few of the questions that you guys asked me. I couldn't write all of them, otherwise this video would be probably a length YouTube wouldn't even allow me to post. So yes, I'm going to answer as many as I can of the ones I have written down. So let's go ahead and get started. Question number one, how tall am I? I'm not tall at all. Wow, I rhymed. I'm not tall at all. I'm maybe 5'2". 5'2". If I'm pushing it, 5'3". If I'm really pushing it. Where did I get my piercings done? Are they real? So these are the piercings they're referring to. I have one here, and okay, to be honest, I haven't laid my wig so well here because this is the only part being seen, so I'm not gonna lift it because you guys will see my sins. But I have 3 piercings here. I got them, they're real. First and foremost, they're real. I got them done at a place in town called Ink City by Johnny. It's on Moy Avenue. And each cost 1,500. I believe someone else also asked about aftercare of my piercings, especially since my belly ring was rejected by my body. Yeah, I had a belly ring. It was literally pushed out of my body. I still have a scar, but basically how I take care of my piercings, all of them, even the ones that are rejected, is that I use sea salt or Himalayan salt and I mix that with some warm water, and then I use like an earbud or cotton wool to clean it. And I usually do that for a couple of weeks after I get the piercing. How did I manage to save money for my makeup brand? Yes, I got this question a lot. How are you able to finance Joanna K Cosmetics? Do you fully own the company? Yeah, more or less. So first and foremost, I 100% own my company, Joanna K Cosmetics. I am the sole director and sole shareholder of Joanna K Cosmetics. I did not have any investors, so nobody put in money. Well, people helped me by putting in time and helping me with other things, but money-wise, like capital money-wise, no one chipped in. It was all me, and it was all from money that I made here online on YouTube. So through YouTube, YouTube itself has actually started paying me quite well. I definitely can't complain about that, and it's also become quite steady, because before it didn't used to be so steady. Like I would get money one month, a month I don't get, but now it's quite steady and it's a pretty fair amount. So I saved that month in, month out, and then I also did quite a number of brand collaborations, especially towards the end of last year. And then I put all that money together. So all the brands I worked with, that's what I put into my company. So that's how I saved. But to be honest, I didn't actually save money and then put it into the company. It was coming as I was using it. So when I first started doing things that needed payment, I didn't really know where the money was gonna come from. All I could do was pray. I didn't have to save all the money together and then put it into Joanna K Cosmetics. It was, I get a brand collaboration, I pay for something. I get another one, I pay for something. YouTube pays me, I pay for something. Challenges that I have faced in the entrepreneurship journey. So Joanna K Cosmetics is now exactly 2 months old, and it's been really good. I have really enjoyed myself. Some of the challenges that I have faced is, first of all, trying to get a team that works, but not just a team that works, but a team that has bought into my vision for Joanna K Cosmetics. In the beginning, that was pretty hard because people want work and they're willing to work, but I really wanted people who could buy into my vision. They can see my vision for Joanna K Cosmetics. They can see where I'm going with the company. well, now I have people who can actually see my vision, and it's really amazing, but that was a challenge at the beginning. Another challenge, of course, was coming up with the capital. That wasn't easy because, like I told you guys, I didn't save all the money and put it into the company at once. So it wasn't, I don't know, just that I think I'm a risk taker. I'm quite a risk taker because I would just order things without knowing how to pay for them, and somehow God saw me through. But it was definitely still a challenge. Like, it's not that I wouldn't get stressed out. I would get so stressed out when I had to make a payment and I didn't have money. So definitely raising that capital wasn't easy. Another challenge I faced is definitely facing the reality that not all your followers are going to become your customers. I already went into the business knowing that that was the case. You know that if I have 50,000 subscribers and 50,000 followers, doesn't mean that I'm going to get 50,000 customers. But then the number of customers I got from my followers and still continue to get was definitely a lot less than I thought it would be, especially when I made the announcement and everyone was, you know, congratulations and this and this. But when it came to actually purchasing the products, I was I don't know, it's not what I expected. I definitely expected to get more sales from followers. However, that said, I think I've mentioned this before, that it would have been much harder for me had I started without the following I have now. So I'm definitely grateful for the following I have and for all the people who've bought, because you know, on my recommendation that my products are good. What advice helped you most when starting your business? For me, that was think big, start small. Because if I had waited to execute my vision exactly the way I saw it in my head, then Joanna Cosmetics would not be today. So think big, start small, meaning you have the big vision for your company, yes, but you have to be able to be realistic and start small, and then grow from there to execute the initial vision you had in your mind. So when I first had the idea for Joanna Cosmetics, you can imagine I wanted to have a full range of products, you know, foundation, powder, you know, everything, setting spray, everything you can think of. I wanted to have all those things, but that was just not realistic because there was no way I could be able to raise money to launch a full range of products. I also wanted to have a huge and lavish launch party and have influencers come and I bring some of my subscribers. And to be honest, I actually tried to have a launch party like that. Of course, I couldn't afford it, so I tried to look for sponsors to sponsor the event. I got rejected quite a number of times, which is okay, and of course I didn't end up having the launch party. But I feel like the way things go is the way they're meant to. So the online launch was really beautiful because I didn't exclude anyone. Anyone who wanted to be a part of the launch was a part of the launch, and that ended up turning out much better than if I had a launch event, and of course I couldn't invite all of you guys. So think big, start small. How old am I? Someone here asked so many questions. How old am I? Am I single, born again? So I'm 24. I just turned 24 on the 2nd of January this year. So I'm just 1 month into 24. Am I single? This one I got so many questions about it. Are you dating? Are you single? Let's leave that part of my life mysterious, shall we? And then am I born again? So I'm Catholic. So in my faith or religion, we don't really say born again. So yeah. What am I most grateful for? That one has been and will definitely be my family for a long time. My family keeps me grounded, guys. they keep me so grounded. You know, out there it's I'm Joanna Kinuthia, you know, and people stop me on the streets and they want to take selfies with me, and you know, they say I inspire them so much. And to be honest, things like that can get to your head. That's the truth of the matter. You can start, you know, yeah. But my family just keeps me grounded, and they remind me that, you know what, you're actually just Joanna. In this family, you're just Joanna. Out there, you're just Joanna. So they just keep me grounded. They keep me humble. They're also almost like an escape for me. You know, when things online are tough, you know, they're there. You know, like when I asked the question about, you know, what do people click off videos for, and I got a lot of negative feedback, I just turned my phone off, and my family is there. And it's not that they're comforting me or anything, but just normal daily interaction with them just brings me back to earth. And it's like, everything you're doing is online, so just relax and just, you know, I don't know if that makes sense. Was it easy quitting your job to pursue YouTube? To be honest, yes, it was. Reason being, first and foremost, when I make a decision, I've made it, and no one can tell me otherwise. It can be a good quality, but it can also be a negative quality, because it's essentially stubbornness. I'm very stubborn. When I decide to do something, there's no way you can convince me otherwise. And it's not that I won't hear you out. I'll listen to you telling me don't do this, and I'll be like yes, and then I turn around and I do the exact thing that I want to do. So that when I made the decision to quit my job, it was like any other decision I made. I made it. But also, please remember, I was living with my parents. I still live with my parents, but then once I quit my job, of course my parents were supporting me, so it wasn't a difficult decision for me to make, because at the end of the day I would go home to my parents' house. There's usually food and rent is paid for, so that made it much easier for me to leave. And also, I didn't particularly love the job, so I thought, I can't stay here, so I'm leaving. But definitely, me living with my parents was the biggest thing that made it easy for me, because if you have a family is relying on you, then of course it would be extremely difficult for you to leave your job and pursue or get into the unknown. Okay, wouldn't it be easier to sell products in a mall rather than for people to order? I got this question about 3 times. Why aren't your products in stores? Why don't you sell your products in shops? So my business is new. It's 2 months old. And what I really wanted was to interact one-on-one with my customer. I wanted to get honest feedback. I wanted to collect customer data for me to be able to see, yes, I said data. I wanted to be able to see, you know, who's my customer, where are they located, and then also just that interaction. You know, someone can tell me your delivery fee is pricey, or your products were this, or your products were that, or maybe next time you could do this, or which is something that I'm not going to be able to get if I get distributors. So if I just give my products to shops or to distributors, they're the ones who are dealing with the customer, and I'll never, or when I say I mean me and my team, will never be able to get to know our customers. And I feel like when we get to know our customers, we're really able to improve. We're also able to get more repeat customers, because we're able to address issues that customers might have with the products or with the whole process and all that stuff. So for that reason, I'm not going to be selling my products in shops or getting distributors anytime soon. Does YouTube really make money? Can I truly earn? After how long before I start earning? I got this question a lot because people are still concerned about whether YouTube is actually a viable career, and I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. I've also seen many comments of people saying that there's no influencer who really does influencing full-time. Many of them live with their parents, many of them are married, many of them so they have someone who is supporting them. So I'm gonna speak on, for me personally, I do think that YouTube is a viable career, and I think that you can actually earn a pretty good living, but only, well, not only, but you can start earning a good living when you've reached, unfortunately, a certain number of followers. So brands are still looking at followers, YouTube is still looking at followers and views, which makes sense because you want your brand to be in front of as many eyeballs as possible. So I think you can earn a very good living, but I think you have to be able to take your channel and your following to the next level. So if it's having your own company like me and leveraging the following you have to get customers to buy from you, that's really good. If it's collaborating with a brand, like I don't know if you guys see these beauty gurus, they collaborate. You'll see Jackie and who did Jackie and Too Faced collaborated, Alyssa Ashley and who did she collaborate with? NYX. Yeah, so you see those collaborations, Patricia Bright and Mark, those, that's taking now your following to the next level, or starting your own thing, or having some a book you're selling, or a guide you're selling, or something. For me personally, where I have reached with the following I have, I make a good living. I make a pretty good living. I mean, for me to be able to fund a whole company means I do make a good living. I was quite concerned that YouTube may not make you rich, you know, like a stinking rich millionaire, YouTube on its own. But to be honest, I have seen international influencers become millionaires because of their channels, but those are huge those are huge influencers, you know, it's family, James Charles, and there's no one for me to look up to in the Kenyan space who I feel like is rich or is a millionaire or is has reached the levels that I consider rich. I don't know, guys, we want to be. So I don't know if I'm making sense, but on the issue of living with your parents or being supported by a husband or someone, you're making a lot of assumptions by saying that influencers are not making money. In fact, they live with their parents and their husbands or boyfriends, because you don't know the situation in that person's life. So for me, living with my parents is a choice that I made. It's not that I'm living with my parents because I'm not making enough money to stand on my own 2 feet. Sincerely speaking, if I wanted to move out of my parents' house, I could quite literally pack my things right now, today, and I would be able to move to a good part of town with 2 bedrooms, one for to be a bedroom, one to be my filming space. But I choose to take this time just to spend time with my parents and my family, and also to save, because me living in my parents' house means I'm not spending as much as I would if I was living on my own. And plus, many people have said living on your own is so overrated. If you can stay with your parents, stay with them, save that money, invest that money. And also the influencers who are married and live, you know, they live with their husbands. I don't know, people are assuming that they're not contributing to their family life, and it's that their husbands are the ones holding them up, which you can't know. You actually can't know. So what I said in the beginning, I can only speak for myself. I have made and continue to make a pretty decent living on YouTube. The only thing I would say is that it can be quite, you know, like this. What's the word? as in payments are not, it's not a monthly salary that you're getting. Yes, you can get brand deals, and in fact I encourage you to. That's personally what I've done. I work with 2 or 3 brands on a long-term basis. So for example, if I have one brand is paying me 50,000 every month, I'm working with another one paying me 50,000 every month, and I'm working with another one paying me 50,000 every month for me to do a certain number of posts every month, then I'm able to make 150,000 every month. It actually becomes like a salary. So I've discovered that for you to try and make influencing constant, long-term collaborations are the way to go for you and for the brand, because a brand is also able to see much better traction when an influencer is constantly using a product and talking about a product rather than them talking about the product once. So yes, and then 2, when you're getting a fairly good number of views and putting some ads on your videos, then you can be able to make a good amount of money from YouTube itself. So let's say I'm making the 150k. These are figures I've cooked by the way. Don't go say Joanna makes 150,000. No, 150,000, and then on YouTube, let's say you earn 30,000 every month, then at least, or 50,000, you can easily be able to take home 200,000 shillings every month. And then over and above that, you can still do one-off collaborations with brands. Like one brand can approach you and say, hey, let's work together on one video. So though I feel like those are usually quite important, because influencing is like just up and down, up and down, up and down. Towards the end of the year, you get so many gigs. You're able to do so many brand collaborations, but then towards the beginning of the year, things are a bit slower to pick up. So it's up to you also to know those cycles, so that in end of 1 year you save, because you can make what you make in the first 6 months, you can double or triple it just in November, December. So it's up to you to be able to save that money and spread it out. Yes, I hope I have answered that question. Okay, how has your 5 a.m. morning routine been going? So for anyone who doesn't know about this, I started waking up at 5. I have woken up at 5 for 4 weeks, guys. Clap for me. 5 a.m. for 4 weeks, and what I do is the 20-20-20 rule, which is a rule by Robin Sharma. I can link that video down below. So what he proposes is wake up at 5 for the first 20 minutes, do a workout. For the next 20 minutes, do some meditation or reflection, and then for the last 20 minutes, what do you do? Oh yeah, you listen or read something motivational or inspirational. So for me, I wake up at 5, actually wake up at 4:55. I put my alarm, my phone very far away from my bed, because now I have to get out of bed and get my phone. But before even the waking up, I actually sleep by 10. 10 won't find me awake. 10 will not find me awake. So I sleep by 10, and then by 9 or an hour and a half before I sleep, I put away all my gadgets. So that's the time like I'll journal, or I'll read a physical book, or I'll read the Bible, you know, just something that's not electronic. And it just has completely improved my quality of sleep. So I sleep deep sleep, such that when I wake up at that 4:55, I feel so fresh and just so ready to go. So I wake up 4:55. By 5 I begin working out. I actually work out for 30 to 45 minutes instead of 20. I do skipping, and then after that I usually journal a bit, you know, write my thoughts for the day, just my thoughts overall, my plans. That's the time I review my vision board. I review my quarterly goals, because I have my goals for 2019, but I've also divided them into quarterly goals. So I'll review and see, okay, how am I doing here, how am I doing here, how can I do better. I alternate that sometimes with meditation. So sometimes I'll actually just meditate and just try and quiet my mind. And I think meditation is actually a really good activity, because it helps you be able to really control your thoughts and what you're thinking. You really as the more you do it, the more you find yourself having control over your thoughts, because when you're meditating, you have to really push, especially when you first start. You literally can't keep your mind quiet. There's just so many things going through your mind, you know, what you ate yesterday, what you have to do, this person did this person did this, that your mind can't quiet itself. So as you keep doing it, it becomes easier and easier for you to control that. So I find it a really good tool, because you can also be able to cut off negative thoughts when they come into your mind. So the minute you have a thought of self-doubt, or the minute you have a negative thought about yourself or about someone else, meditating helps you be able to just have control over your mind. So you're able to cut that thought off before it just becomes a thing. And then in the last 20 minutes, I usually listen to a podcast. So actually this, I listen to like 10 to 15 minute podcasts, and then I write down any lessons that I've learned. This one, I usually listen to podcasts that honestly that I just feel like listening to. So I just enter YouTube and I see, today I'm feeling really lazy, how to be productive, and then I'll listen to a podcast that's relevant to me that day. So it's been amazing. It's been really amazing. 4 weeks, I'm pushing. Yeah, I've done 4 weeks so far, which is amazing. It's actually become a routine. Okay, someone else asked, how do I make time for God? I'm gonna give you guys advice that my mom gave me some time ago. That was just, the sun is just starting to come. I need to wrap this up. So my mom is the one who gave me this advice some time ago, and I thought it was beautiful. It applies to relationships. So what she was telling me is, when it comes to relationships, the most important thing is commitment. You're not always going to feel that feeling of love, you know, to someone else. Oh my God, you know, you're so amazing, I love you so much, you know, and you just, you know, you're not always going to feel that. Sometimes you're gonna wake up and you're just gonna feel irritated even by this person breathing. You're just gonna be so irritated, but you have to be committed enough to push past that feeling of irritation or lack of that feeling of being in love or love in general, and just still treat them well, still spend time with them, etc, etc. And this applies to romantic relationships, it applies to friendships. You have to have that level of commitment. And then she said to me that a relationship with God is also a relationship. So you're not always going to feel hallelujah, amen, yes, Jesus, you know, because sometimes like you can listen to a sermon or, you know, read the Bible and just, or God has just done something so amazing in your life that you feel, whoo, hallelujah, and you're just praying all the time. You're talking to God throughout your day, and it's just wow, wow, wow. But then, to be honest, well, for me personally, there are times when that's not the case. Like, I feel quite disconnected from God. So it's like I have, like, God is here, and then, you know, I have like my life, you know, work, whatever it is, and there's that divide. When what I usually like is when God is at the center of everything. So when I'm working, it's, you know, like He's in every aspect of my life. So when that happens, I just have to be committed to praying and to talking to Him, even when I don't feel like, or I'm not feeling that hallelujah feeling. So yeah, just the way you create time for other relationships and your friendships and all that is just the same way you should actually set aside time to talk to God. So for me, I pray in the morning and I pray in the evening before I sleep. Come what may, however I'm feeling, I will sit down, take time out, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just talk to God. I'm not saying I'm a pro at that, because sometimes I just sleep and I forget to pray, but it's very good advice. The sun is not gonna let me prosper. Let me move like that a bit. Okay. What process do I use to come up with content for my channel? That's a good idea, because Before, what I used to do is I would just come up with a video. If tomorrow is Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday or Friday, I come up with a video today. Not to say that I wasn't putting in effort in my video, because if it's Tuesday, then I would wake up and I would plan, you know, what kind of video should I do, and then I do an hour of research or 2 hours of research, and then I film for 3 hours, and then I edit. So it would be like a whole day and a whole thing. But then last year, end of last year, I decided to come up with a content plan. I haven't been 100% sticking to it. I've moved a few things around, but I made a content plan for January, and let me show you. Okay, so this was actually, it usually hangs on my wall, and I'm literally the only person who can understand it. So if this is January, then I've color coded. So there's like content for YouTube, content for Instagram, there's like beauty content, there's like personal development content, and I just put it all here. And I did this for January and for Feb. Now, I don't 100% stick to my content plan. Sometimes I completely deviate, but it's a guide. So sometimes when I don't feel like doing what's on the board, then I just do my own thing. You know, sometimes you can just be inspired and want to do a completely different video, which is okay. Whew, look at that eye makeup. I just had to bring you guys in. Anyways, let's wrap up this Q&A, because at this point, it's been I can answer more questions probably in another Q&A, but for now, I'm gonna love you and leave you. Thank you guys so much for coming to watch, and please just appreciate, because I have never laid a wig this well, okay? So just give this video a thumbs up for that reason. Thank you. See you guys in my next one. Bye.